Welcome to this episode of the Smart Leaders Sell podcast. I'm Jessica Lorimer, sales coach and leadership expert, and I can't wait to dive into today's topic, which is all about scheduling your selling success because, hey, we're here to make money, honey. That sounded so much jazzier in my head than when I said it out loud. So it's been an interesting week, actually. Obviously, at the time of recording, I'm preparing to go skiing. So I'm like batch recording these. Or I'm batch recording like the next 3 so I can go skiing, not worry that I'm like, shit, I need to record podcast episodes and I'm halfway up a mountain with no Wi-Fi and Scott is going to kill me. But it does mean that when I'm like thinking about my week and I'm thinking about reflecting on what I've been up to, I'm kind of thinking that at this point, I may have been a really successful skier. So at this point, actually, if you're listening to the episode, I might be on a real high. I might be thinking, I am super skier. In fact, I'm going to try out for the next Olympics. Because obviously, I'm probably the only person that does this, but I'm like, even if I'm sort of like semi-average at something, I'm just like, well, no, let's go hell for leather on this. Let's go big, go hard or go home. So it could have gone really well. I could be super skier. I could be entering the Olympics or the Winter Olympics, whatever. Or it could have gone really badly, And I'm trying to weigh up in my head which one it's going to be. I could have been that person who was great on the dry ski slope and sucked on snow. Like I could get onto the snow and just be like, oh my goodness, I'm terrified of skiing, or actually I'm useless, or I've spent an entire week in the spa and, drinking wine wasn't exactly the jam-packed adventure holiday that I was expecting. But if you are connected with me on social media, if you're in my Facebook community, the Smart Leader Sales Society, I am sure that you will be seeing updates over the skiing week. So you can make that judgment for yourself. And obviously feel free to email me and let me know how you think I did, whether I am the next insert name of famous skier or whether I am actually destined for a life off the slopes. So this episode is really all about what you actually need to do to make money every day. So one of the things that I found when I came into the online space was that there were tons of people who had all of the strategies and they were doing all of the things. Every time a new social media platform came out, they were on it, they were hooked up, trying to get clients. Every time a new marketing theory came out, they were testing it, they were doing all these things. Every book, every webinar, everyone was basically implementing everything. And it made it really hard. As a new business owner, somebody who'd worked in sales forever, I was like, well, I know the basics. But as somebody who was coming in as a new business owner into a new space, into this online world, I was freaking out because I knew that I didn't have time to do all of the things that everyone else was doing. And I also knew that I didn't want to. I kind of felt like if online business was that complicated, perhaps it wasn't for me. And I was really, really struggling with that. And I'm very open about the fact that the first 3 months of my business, after leaving my corporate job, when I had to come in and do things on my own and support myself with it, making sure that, I didn't have like a salary to back up my rent anymore or anything like that, it was really, really tough. It was really hard. I was trying to do all the things and I felt like I was failing. Because I was getting nowhere. I wasn't well known. I wasn't then getting referrals. I was making mistakes. I was getting like 1 or 2 clients a month, but it wasn't the dream. I wasn't living the dream. I wasn't having the freedom-based business that I thought of. I wasn't drinking Mai Tais on a beach. In fact, I was talking to a friend about this. We had obviously the snow this week, and one of my friends came around to play board games. And he said, do you know what, Jess? I remember when you first started your business, and you were taking calls at like midnight because you were working a full-time job or because the only client that would want to work with you was in, ridiculous time zone. And the only way that you could make it work was to stay up late or get up early and take the clients and make sure that the job got done. And I want to share that really transparently because it's something that I think in the online space, sometimes we feel ashamed of. If we haven't got all of our shit together, are we really ever going to be a great business owner? Is it really possible for us? And, it's taken me 3.5 years, but actually, yes, and you should be proud of doing those things. If you are making choices, and some choices are harder than others. Believe me, I never, ever, ever want to get up at 5 a.m. ever again, unless it's for a flight to a hot, sunny destination and I'm going to be provided with, all-inclusive cocktails at the other end. It's one of those things where actually you are going to be required at some point in your business to make a hard choice. And that's not always going to be fun. It's not always going to be the choice that you want to make, but it is going to be really important to the long-term success of your business. So there are going to be those difficult decisions. And at the beginning of your business, actually, it's quite exciting. You're working off of adrenaline. So when you're making those difficult choices, whether that's late night calls or early morning calls, or whether it's, not going out at the weekend and actually getting your website done or whatever that might be, you're kind of operating from this adrenaline space of, I really want this to work. And I want the freedom-based lifestyle, and I want to have the money, and, all of those kinds of things that actually keep you going. They keep you powering through. And then over the course of your business, it gets a little bit more difficult. And sometimes, especially for people who don't go into making money straight away, and for who it takes a little bit longer, it can actually be really disheartening to think, I'm putting in all this effort and nothing's happening. Why is nothing shifting? And so when people come to me, and usually people do, especially if they're newer to business, they'll come to me when they're 6 to 8 months in. They've perhaps invested in a really high ticket coach or a group program that was supposed to teach them everything. And they're feeling a little bit, not like a failure, but they're feeling frustrated. They're not where they thought they were going to be, And even though we all know the reality of, the Facebook ads that say you can make 100K in 2 days, when your business is brand new and you too can be drinking Mai Tais on the beach, even though ultimately we understand that probably is not going to happen, there is also that desire inside of ourselves that thinks, oh, wouldn't it be lovely? I too had that desire. I too was sucked in. So if you sat there thinking, Jess, that never happened to me, then you are somebody who's way more realistic than I am. But, we all have that thought. So I don't want anyone to kind of listen to this thinking, well, you know what, Jess, I've been plugging away at this months and it's really hard and you don't know how it feels. I do know how it feels. I've been there. I've lived off pot noodles. I've had a great business. I've had a business that doesn't make any money. I've had some great clients. I've had some crap clients. And when I say crap, I mean that, we weren't a good fit, not that they were terrible people or anything, but it's all a learning curve. So if you're, listening to this episode and you're thinking, well, what can I possibly listen to now? What miracle cure, what magic pill can Jess give me to insert sales into my business? The simple answer is that there isn't. And that honestly, some of the stuff that we talk about today is not necessarily going to be any different from things that you've heard before. The difference is that if you are in the right frame of mind now to genuinely be successful and genuinely make money in your business, this time you're going to hear the golden nuggets, like really hear them, and it's going to work for you. So have a think about it, have a think about how you feel about it, and potentially come back to this episode a couple of times and re-listen and hear the golden nuggets, when you are going through plateaus in your business, so you can identify why you've hit a plateau, what's really going on, where are the major problems. So when we look at what we actually need to do to make money every day, I always say to my clients, it's not really a difficult process. In order to make money, all we need is two things. One, we need an audience. So we need eyeballs that can go on to, number two, our offer. Okay. And ideally, and in fact, not even ideally, that offer needs to be something that is providing a solution for the problem they have right now. That's it. That's how sales are made all day, every day. When we rock up to the online space, the trouble is that there are so many different ways of generating an audience, and there are so many different ways or so many different offers that you can sell. People get caught up in that rather than the actual implementation. Okay. So for example, in my business, I remember when Periscope came out. And at that time, I was relatively new to business. I'd, a year in business, and I'd been using Facebook groups and I'd been doing well with that. And then suddenly this new platform comes out and everyone's like, right, you've got to use Periscope. And if you really want to maximize Periscope, you've also kind of got to get a handle on Twitter and understand how to tweet and all these kinds of things. And so suddenly I went from really focusing on one place, Facebook, and monetizing that. I went to trying to focus on two things I didn't really understand how they worked, and a platform that I knew well, but suddenly didn't have the time to dedicate to it. Now, as you can imagine, my sales plateaued. However, it did a couple of things for my business that didn't generate revenue, but later on paid off. And that's what I want to talk about in the episode today. So when we're talking about scheduling sales, we need to be thinking about your quick wins, which is ultimately sell a solution that meets the biggest needs of your audience right now to your warmest people, and your long-term sales strategy, because you can't keep people in an adrenaline spike forever, okay? So your longer-term sales strategy needs to be based around 3 things, and those 3 things are what we're talking about today. So number 1 is your money-making activities. Now, at this point, you might be going, oh God, Jess, this is so simple. But it is simple, okay? Making money and having a long-term sales strategy doesn't actually need to be horrendously difficult. It just needs to be consistent. So your money-making activities you should be doing every single day. And you might have heard me talk about these a couple of times where I say, yeah, I spend like an hour a day, 2 hours a day with my money-making activities, with my revenue generators. And that basically means any activity that is going to lead to a sale or position an offer in front of somebody, okay? So it could be sending out a sales email. It could be conducting a discovery call. It could be putting out a social media post that leads to a tripwire offer. It could even be asking people to make a decision at the next step of the relationship with you. So for example, I could say on the podcast today, hey guys, if you want to know what the money-making activities are in my business, go and sign up for this free thing, and you might sign up. And that would be me putting you into a sales process, right? It would be asking you to make the decision to get to know me better, to build the relationship that we have, right? So every single day, you need to be having or implementing at least one money-making activity. Now, the caveat is, and this is where I look at my day every day, I don't really plan time by time. At 9 a.m. I'm going to do this, and 10 a.m. I'm always going to do this. I look at what does my business actually need right now. So if my business needs to increase its cash flow by a substantial amount, so say I'm like, okay, I need to make 10K in the next week, then I need to be doing more money-making activities, right? If my business is kind of happy days and I'm having some really good months and actually I'm happy with the income that I'm producing, then I will take it back and just do the one every day and focus on getting one more sale every day, just to keep myself in a position where I'm making money every day and I'm reminding myself to be consistent about my sales activities. Okay. The second one is about branding and visibility. Now, this is where it gets kind of sticky because, when I started out in the online business space, lots of people were teaching, go into 3 to 5 Facebook groups, post 3 to 5 times a day with value, and you'll be attracting people and generating leads. Now, when it first came out, it wasn't a bad strategy. It did actually work. Nowadays, though, what tends to happen is people go onto Facebook, they hang out on Facebook, they get sucked into this black time hole, and they never come out. So when you're thinking about branding and visibility activities, what we're actually talking about are activities that are going to build your brand. So help demonstrate your credibility, help position you as the expert, help people understand why they should hire you, and generate leads. So taking people into your funnels, getting people to build a relationship with you, putting people into your community in some way. Now, I'm a big fan of branding and visibility activities that I can control. So I don't like to be reactive in my business. And it's one of those things where some people are really good on the hop, as my mum would say. And so they just go live. It's all fairly impromptu. They go live when they want. They'll rock up on Periscope whenever they want. They'll put out a social media post whenever they want. And that's cool for them. And for them, if that's the way their life rolls and if that's the way they want to incorporate their business in their life, that's all cool. However, I'm somebody that's fairly introverted. And so actually, I find it really difficult to be reactive on social media. I find that it's a major time suck. I find that I don't get as much done. I find that it's difficult to focus then on my clients because I'm constantly worried about notifications pinging and missing things and all that kind of thing. So I prefer branding and visibility activities that generate me leads on autopilot and that build my brand as a credible one through other channels. So for me, branding and visibility activities are based around getting PR. They're things like this podcast. They are activities where I can demonstrate my expertise in a format that's going to live on longer than the 24 hours that the newsfeed has on Facebook. Okay. So you might look at things like appearing on a telesummit, being a guest expert for a membership site, being a guest expert for a Facebook community, PR, appearing on a podcast, asking your friends to shout you out, like for referrals. There are lots and lots of ways that you can build your brand and build your visibility so you can generate those leads. And it can either be done, like I say, in real time, so reactive, or it can be done on an automated basis, and that's planned content. Now, if you're looking at planned content, so for me, I do a lot with PR. I write a lot of articles. I appear on lots of podcasts and things. You have to be aware that your branding and visibility activities then have a lead time. So you always need to be thinking about, what content am I going to be creating? Where am I going to be sending it? How quickly is it going to be going out? What is the shelf life of that piece of content? If you're somebody who's reactive, if you're somebody who's working in real time, you've got to be looking at things like your audience insight. When are people actually responding most to your content? How can you make this process more expedient or efficient? How can you build relationships quicker without having to do everything one-to-one all the time? Okay, so those are just a couple of things to consider with your branding and visibility activities. And again, every day you want to be doing, at least one branding and visibility activity. Now, if you're at a position in your business, last Monday we talked about being fully booked. If you're in a position in your business where you are fully booked out, you don't actually need to do that many sales activities, or you don't have as many things to sell, but in 3 months' time, you'll need an audience. You will again want to increase the branding and visibility activities that you're doing. So you might want to write more articles. You might want to appear on more podcasts. You might want to be on TV. You might want to do lots of different things like that and actually have the time to do it and give yourself the appropriate lead time to have that generate solid quality leads. And then the third thing that you want to be thinking about is learning and development. So when we talk about learning and development, what we're thinking about is there a skill that you need to learn that would benefit your clients? Okay, so perhaps you're a coach and you're thinking, actually, if I could learn hypnotherapy, or if I could learn NLP, or if I could learn some other kind of amazing technique, that it would benefit my clients and that they'd get quicker results or better results, then that might be something you want to factor into your day. Okay, because ultimately, when we learn and develop, we can provide new services to our clients. We can provide new offers. We can help them get bigger and better results in a quicker time frame. And actually, that has a direct impact on our sales activity and actually our sales results, thinking about it. Now, it can also be something that would just benefit you personally or professionally. So for example, my learning development, I am a lifelong learner. I really enjoy learning. I like knowing new things. I like having trivia that I can potentially take to pub quizzes. So for me, the last couple of years, I've been working on a forensic psychology degree part-time because I like knowing different things. And also I'm slightly obsessed with criminal minds and secretly one day want to be invited to one of those behavioral analysis unit conferences so I can sit there and learn all of the reasons why people do the things that they do. But professionally, you may also want to learn new things that would benefit your business. So you might want to learn sales skills. You might want to learn email marketing skills. You might want to learn about Facebook ads. Even listening to something like this podcast is a learning and development activity. You're actively engaging your brain in something that is either going to benefit you or benefit your clients, right? And that's it. And so every single day, I dedicate an hour to my own learning and development, whether it's something that's going to benefit my clients and help them get bigger and better results, or whether it's something that's going to benefit my business or just my brain and keeping me interested and engaged with life, okay? Learning and development is really important. It's also the thing that we kind of cut off when other things get busy. So for example, when you're caught up with clients, you've got tons of client delivery to do, we cut out the learning and development because we're like, well, let's face it, the client is more important. Yeah. When we are super visible and we're responding constantly to like media requests, or we're chasing down the Facebook notifications, responding in groups, trying to offer information and help and all support. Again, it's the learning and development activity that we tend to get rid of because it's not a money maker, or it's not bringing in cash immediately. Try not to think like that. Try to make time for every day, because ultimately, like I said earlier, when you learn and grow, your audience wants to step up with you. So whether or not you're learning and developing in an area that's going to directly benefit them in terms of their results, or whether it's that you're learning, developing, your business is growing, and you are showing them something aspirationally that they then want to achieve themselves, or that they wish that they had, it is going to really impact your sales activity. It's going to impact your brand, your visibility, by giving you testimonials, case studies that you can use, and also showing people that you genuinely are taking your business really seriously, and also taking your life really seriously. If you're learning new skills, i.e. skiing, it does show people that you're not just building a business 24/7, and that you are actually building a business around the life you want. You're not just building a business to hustle all of the time and then die, because that's miserable and depressing. And let's face it, if you're going to do that, you might as well just get a job, because that is kind of what happens. So those are genuinely the only 3 activities I do in my business every day. And depending on what I need more of, so if I need more people in my audience, I'll do more branding and visibility stuff. If I need more sales, I'll do more sales stuff. If I'm fully booked out and actually I've got a pipeline of media appearances, I'll spend more time on my own learning development, see what I can do that's going to improve my customer experiences. Yeah, that's all you need to do every day. And so when people come to me and they're like, yeah, well, I'm just going to go off and I'm just going to do these things, I'm just going to do that thing, and they have a to-do list as long as their arm, that's what's stopping people being successful. Because you're trying to do all the things at once immediately, rather than looking at strategically, what does my business need right now, and spending time on that. Okay. Now, again, if you do struggle with these kinds of things, this is exactly what is included in the Smart Leader Sell 90-Day Planner. So the link for that is in the show notes. If you want to see my money-making activities, if you want the planner to help remind you to do these things every day, if you want to use the formulas in there, the trackers, the metric kind of capabilities, and of course the sales offer strategies and launch formulas, check it out. Go and have a look at it, see if it meets your needs, and pick up a copy, because I've tested this on many people, and this formula does work. So if you're somebody who really does struggle to schedule yourself for sales success, and it's not about what you're doing at 9 a.m. and it's more about actually, are you putting the right activities in the right order or doing enough of them, then this planner will really help you. Okay. If you're somebody who just needs a kind of fancy looking Google calendar, don't order it, because it doesn't have the times and dates in anyway. So that's all you need to do to make money every day is A, focus on where the money's coming from, do some money making activities. B, look at your branding and visibility. Make sure that you are building a credible, visible brand to generate consistent leads. And C, look at your own learning development. What can you do? What can you implement or learn that will benefit your clients? And what can you learn that will benefit you or your personal life in some way? If you've enjoyed the episode, obviously make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss any of the others. Hit the review button, leave us a little review if you liked what you heard. And like I say, you can always come and join the Smart Leader Sales Society over on Facebook. I do a weekly live training over there as well. You can come and find out each week what the different topics are and get some useful information, build your own networks and community from that too. I'll see you on Friday with another amazing entrepreneur and a fabulous sales question.